My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. When I warned about the COVID vaccines in 2020, 2021, and 2022, there are many who took it lightly and paid deaf ears. Sad to say that many of those people are dead now. Some are maimed. Some are sickly. Very sad. Now, I warned you about the GMOs, and I did mention that the corn that most of you eat is GMO. So most of the heart problems that many people have is from corn, and the diabetes, very common. Watch this. In Hosea chapter 4 and verse number 6, see what it says. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. We generally stop there and we think, okay, they're destroyed because they lack knowledge. But they have a responsibility in this. Look at it. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. Did you see that? So they were not merely lacking knowledge because somebody didn't bring information to them. They actually rejected knowledge. The ignorance was based on the rejection of information. When I warned about the COVID vaccines in 2020, 2021, and 2022, there are many who took it lightly and paid deaf ears. Sad to say that many of those people are dead now. Some are maimed. Some are sickly. Very sad. And I told you, don't be deceived by the fact that some might have taken it and nothing happened, because they mixed placebos with them. Now, I warned you about the GMOs, and I did mention that the corn that most of you eat is GMO. It's one of the oldest GMOs in the world. So you hardly would find organic corn anywhere. It doesn't even look the way the organic one, the original one, doesn't look the way most of what you got look like. So don't deceive yourself about corn. Most of it is GMO. They did that a long time ago. Polluted that a long time ago. That's decades ago. So most of the heart problems that many people have is from corn. And the diabetes, very common. And now they've gotten corn, this destructive corn, into a whole lot of products, especially products for children. So kids are coming up with diseases. A lot of them are affected mentally. Watch this. One of the areas that Satan would like to take advantage of you is your health.
Something is poisoning people, and we know that the primary culprits are changing food supply.
Initially, when I joined my practice, I was seeing maybe 1 or 2 patients a month. Now I am seeing 15 to 20 patients a month.
And I had a diabetic patient come in. I realized, I can't cure diabetes in my office. It's cured on the farm in the food we grow. It's cured in the food manufacturing process. It's cured by what people buy in the grocery store. It's cured in the kitchen.
The majority of foods at the grocery store are dead. And that's actually how I felt for most of my life.
What if the food on your table wasn't what you believed it to be? What if contamination wasn't an accident, but deception? Across the world, the unelected deep state are pursuing a global agenda to reduce the world's population. And one of the methods used to achieve this is through the food people consume. Food is the foundation of life. Any substance consumed by living organisms, especially humans, to provide the energy and nutrients needed for growth, survival, and health.
Foods are promoted as healthy foods, but in reality, behind the scenes, they are not healthy at all. In fact, they're going to make you sick.
Don't be deceived. Don't be deceived.
Chicken and turkey are a primary source of protein. Yet for millions, this staple does not come fresh from nearby farms. It arrives after a long journey across oceans, sealed in containers, and stored for months before reaching local markets.
Frozen chicken, right? With a clear chemical smell. And you think it's good?
It was discovered that the foreign poultry products contain high levels of formaldehyde, as well as high levels of metals and other substances which are lethal to the human body, as against the locally bred poultry products which did not contain such substances.
Formaldehyde is an organic compound consisting of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. It is highly reactive and interacts with biological molecules in a way that halts natural decay processes. When dissolved in water at concentrations, it forms formalin, the liquid solution commonly used for preserving biological specimens. One of the most well-known uses of formaldehyde is in embalming, a process used to preserve human remains for funerals, anatomical studies, and long-term storage in medical institutions. Embalming fluid, which contains formaldehyde, is injected into the circulatory system to prevent decomposition.
Contamination of formalin or the alteration with formalin may damage lungs, damage your digestive system over time, even damage organs like your kidney and liver.
It's also been linked to cancer. It has also been linked to liver disease, and it's also been shown to change your immune cells. This is obviously something we want to avoid as much as possible.
Where do you think people are getting cancer from by the time they are 60 years old? Grandma is 60 and now she's sick. By the time she's 70, they diagnose her with cancer. Now it's getting worse. They get the cancer from 40. And that's just from one group. I'm not talking about the medical side. From the medical side, they're getting it much earlier.
Despite these dangers, frozen imported chicken continues to serve as a crucial, affordable protein source in many parts of the world, raising urgent questions about food safety, regulation, and the hidden cost of convenience.
The deception of convenience. I wonder about corn, especially the sweet corn from Europe, from South Africa. Where do you get them from? You don't have them here. It's like they boil them with sugar, right? Sweet corn. But that stuff is not good for you.
It's one of the earliest genetically modified crops in the world.
So most of what you've been eating was modified a long time ago.
And in '93, somebody figured out a way that glyphosate, there was certain bacteria that glyphosate would not kill. And they said we could take a gene out of that bacteria and put it into a corn seed and develop a corn that cannot be killed by glyphosate. So they developed Roundup Ready corn.
The highest consumers of corn are the United States and China. What you didn't hear was what kind of consumption.
It's in what we buy and how we fuel up.
They don't consume it as much as those in Africa as per digesting it into your system.
Think high fructose corn syrup, corn oil, cereal, corn flour, corn grits, cornmeal, and much more.
And corn's a major cause of heart problems that many are suffering with. A major cause of hypertension, mostly in Africa and Asia.
Research indicates that in South Africa, more than 1 in 3 adults live with high blood pressure. Hypertension is said to be responsible for 1 in 2 every 2 strokes. There's also a direct link between high blood pressure and a heart attack. The disease is called the silent killer because there are rarely any symptoms or visible warning signs.
It was a deliberate government policy at that time, both colonial and post-independence, to introduce maize as the #1 crop in the country. There was a feeling that everybody should just be eating one type of food in Zambia.
I changed my diet drastically. I got my wake-up call when once I had gestational diabetes and high blood pressure at the same time, and that was quite a scare for me.
About 25% to 40% of adults in Asia have hypertension. In some countries, it rises to over 50%, especially among older adults.
We've seen higher rates of heart attacks and strokes in South Asian populations, but we didn't really understand what the underlying causes of that were.
Now they do. It comes down to a greater prevalence of 2 key risk factors, diabetes and hypertension.
For infants and children, corn is a key ingredient in many cereals marketed as healthy meals. What most parents don't realize is that by feeding these products to their children, they are unknowingly setting the stage for future chronic illnesses.
The child hasn't even woken up, he's already got cereal on bed. It's all corn. Say, my children take cornflakes when they wake up. Compulsory cereals. I warn you now.
Cereal. No human being had a bowl of dry breakfast cereal prior to 1906. Cereal was invented by the Kellogg's brothers, and it was actually these companies that convinced people the healthiest way to start your morning was a bowl of cereal with milk.
According to Consumer Reports and nutrition data, many popular breakfast cereals contain high fructose corn syrup to add sweetness and create crunchy clusters.
The problem with high fructose corn syrup is that we have 53% glucose, then we have 42% fructose, and the rest of it is different types of sugars. And the problem is this fructose right here does some serious damage to your liver. All of your cells have receptors for glucose, but not fructose. Only the liver has these receptors to break down fructose. If you're consuming a lot of fructose, what's going to happen is you're going to overload the liver and you're going to create all sorts of problems with insulin resistance, a fatty liver, eventual cirrhosis. So fructose is very unhealthy for the liver. Now what's ironic is sucrose, table sugar, is 50-50 roughly, glucose and fructose. So table sugar, from my viewpoint, is also very, very unhealthy because it has a lot of fructose. Fructose is the fastest way to fatten up your liver and your gut. But also the way that they make high fructose corn syrup is in a lab, and it comes from corn starch, okay? And corn is GMO.
90% of the patients with fatty liver disease, they don't know they have fatty liver disease unless they go through some test like an ultrasound or blood test. They will never know they have fatty liver disease.
Fatty liver disease can progress to fibrosis, cirrhosis, or liver cancer.
And truly, we are seeing young people, even children, with cancer. Where do you think they're getting it from?
Cancer-causing chemicals found in cereal. The Environmental Working Group says it found a significant amount of a chemical called glyphosate.
Glyphosate is the active ingredient in Monsanto's weed killer Roundup. Glyphosate is devastating to the body. It creates mineral deficiencies by binding with minerals. It interferes with the activation of vitamin D in the liver. It causes disruptions of beneficial microbes in our digestive tract. It allows the overgrowth of harmful pathogens. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Cereals and dozens of other products like Ritz crackers, Lucy's oatmeal cookies, Doritos and Oreos, oat cereals, oatmeal, granola, and snack bars. Heavy doses of glyphosate have been found in almost all cereal and snack products made with non-organic oats.
We're going to hold Kellogg's accountable, not only for Fruit Loops, but for every single cereal that they make with artificial food dyes. We're asking them to remove artificial food dyes and BHT. BHT is an endocrine disrupting chemical, and this is something that is in over 40 of their cereals. This is something that causes cancer, promotes tumors, lung tumors, is affecting fertility, all kinds of different issues with BHT. And this is something that they line the packages of cereal with as a preservative. So it's merely there to make the food companies more money so they can leave the product longer on the shelf. But they don't use this chemical, again, overseas.
Every year, 15 million pounds of artificial food dye is put into food. And a lot of those foods are marketed towards kids, especially something like this little fruit snack, or quotes, fruit snack, has a lot of these dyes in it. And, you know, these dyes are really, they're linked to behavior problems in kids, ADHD, even autism. And, you know, I used to think food dye, that's just food dye. It's not good, it's not bad, but I've really seen a big link with diseases in my kids, my patients, allergies, other inflammatory diseases, behavior problems. It's a big problem.
Well, and if you look at the data, very high likelihood that food coloring may cause some behavioral disorders. The FDA acknowledges red number 3 as a known carcinogen, a chemical that could cause cancer, and yet it's still approved for use. So again,
other important ones, red number 40, yellow number 5, and yellow number 6.
My kids were sitting here eating Cinnamon Toast Crunch, or maybe their favorite, Lucky Charms. Now, I was a contractor for 22 years, and we used to do paint prep, do cleaning and things like that. And I'm sitting there reading a box, and I noticed that it says it contains trisodium phosphate. This, TSP, let's see, trisodium phosphate, harmful if swallowed, eye irritant, skin irritant, if ingested, call poison control. Poison control. Let's see here. Trisodium phosphate. And it's not way down here with the vitamins, it's way up here. That's on Lucky Charms. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. We've got Star Wars, trisodium phosphate. This is a carcinogen that we're feeding our kids, and General Mills is putting it in all of their stinking cereals that I have in my drawers. Now, if I sprinkled trisodium phosphate on my kids' cereal, if I put this on there, I would go to prison for poisoning my children. But yet, they're putting it in our cereals for our kids to eat. You guys, we need to stand up for something here, and this is one thing to stand up for. Let's speak for those children that can't speak for themselves, because this is an outrage.
Consumer Reports tested for heavy metals including lead, cadmium, and inorganic arsenic, and say they found at least one of these metals in all of the samples.
This is of a concern because people should not have heavy elements or heavy metals in their food, particularly for their children.
Consumer Reports concluded that 68% of the samples they studied had at least one heavy metal at levels they considered worrisome, and 30% of the products tested raised concern with just one serving or less a day if consumed regularly.
Too much exposure to these particular heavy metals can lead to lower IQ, behavioral issues, even been linked to autism and ADHD.
So I warn you, the programming kids, especially the ones they sent down to Africa. Wake up. I said, what? Wake up. Let coffee go. I used to love the smell of coffee. I let that go a long time ago. Let the coffee go. It's bad.
Coffee, while beloved by many for its stimulating effects and rich flavor, can have several negative impacts on the body.
When we consume coffee, the primary concern from people, it's the effect of caffeine in our body. Caffeine enters very fast. After probably maybe 30 to 45 minutes after you consume it, you're gonna have it in your bloodstream.
While many people turn to coffee as a stimulant to boost productivity, its negative effects on the body are often downplayed by manufacturers. Coffee consumption has been associated with an increased risk of several health issues, such as gastrointestinal disorders, headaches, and increased risk of miscarriage for pregnant women.
Did you know your coffee intake may actually increase your risk of migraines?
New research today points to a link between caffeine and migraine headaches. The study in the American Journal of Medicine says 3 or more cups of coffee can trigger migraines in those who experience them occasionally. Migraines affect more than 1 billion people worldwide.
Miscarriages are one of the last medical issues that most people don't talk about, but they are incredibly common. In fact, 1/3 or more of women in their 30s have lost a pregnancy. Sometimes the miscarriage is due to genetic or other defects in the embryo or to medical conditions in the mother, but often the cause remains a mystery. Now there's a clue.
We followed couples every day from when they started trying to get pregnant through 7 weeks after they became pregnant. We found that both men and women who consumed more than 2 caffeinated beverages each day had an increased risk of miscarriage.
The results are really pretty amazing. Women who had any detectable level of caffeine in their blood prior to conception had an almost 5-fold greater risk of an early miscarriage.
Some even pride themselves as like black coffee. Black. The blacker, the worse.
Caffeine doesn't just circulate to the brain tissue. It circulates throughout the body and can therefore affect other tissues and other systems. And one of those systems would be the cardiovascular system. Caffeine can increase systolic blood pressure by as much as 10 points. Caffeine can also affect the conduction system of the heart. And if the conduction system of the heart is firing off more frequently, which is in the case of caffeine, it can cause this cardiac muscle tissue to contract more frequently and therefore increase the heart rate. It can also cause the cardiac muscle tissue to contract more forcefully and have a little bit more of a forceful heartbeat. Caffeine can also increase the flow of blood through the kidneys. And if you take a look at this cool kidney dissection that we have here, we can look at the internal anatomy of the kidney, and the blood is going to come in through this renal artery and branch and get distributed to the outer portion of the kidney here to be filtered. Now, this outer portion of the kidney is referred to as the renal cortex. Now, caffeine can increase the amount of fluid and sodium that's filtered in this area, and therefore increasing the amount of urine produced, which will eventually make it out a different tube here called the ureter, down to the bladder and hopefully into the toilet.
One of the most common issues with coffee is how it disrupts sleep patterns.
You will sleep when you want to sleep. And you will wake up when you want to wake up. Are you hearing me? Don't depend on things to help you sleep or to keep you awake. They're not very good for you.
It increases cortisol. You don't want to increase cortisol. Puts fat around your belly. It shrinks your hippocampus. It constricts blood flow 30%. I have all my patients hold caffeine the morning of their scans because I don't want it to artificially show me they have less blood flow than they really do. It fakes you out to think you have energy. What it does is it blocks adenosine, the chemical that tells you to go to sleep. And so often people rely on caffeine because they're sleep deprived, but it's just this bad cycle. And so many of my patients stop, and uniformly they tell me they feel better.
When they told you that when you get to be 50 years old, 55, 60, 68, that you will come up with certain kind of sicknesses. Do you know how they knew? I want to tell you, not because of age. They knew that if you continued taking certain things that they were giving you, if you were taking them over a period of time, at a certain point in your life, by the time you're 40, they know the sickness you will have. By the time you're 50, they know the sickness you will have. All these things were programmed because they knew what they sold to you. And then they lied to you that when you get to this age, this kind of a thing will happen to you. Many of the doctors that say those things, they don't even have a clue. They have no idea. They just read it in school. But they never knew it had to do with the medicines, the drugs, and the food that they were giving to people. Don't let others use Google to guide your life about what you eat and what you don't eat. All right? Let the wisdom of God guide you. Become sensitive to the Holy Spirit's ministry in your life. He will help you know. It's very easy. It's not difficult. It's very easy. It's the easiest thing for the Holy Spirit to lead you. Once you're willing, He will lead you.
Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth. 3 John 2.
To be forewarned is to be forearmed. A lot of the headaches and nervous problems that people have, a lot of people have, are caused by their food and their phones. Yeah, you heard me right. Food and phones. We've talked about food today. I've dealt with the issue of phones before, but we'll share some of that again with you. You need to be very careful about your health. You know, there are people who are very, very careful about what they eat, but they are ignorant. See what I mean? They like to eat what they call clean food. But the idea of clean food is what the manufacturers told them. The deceivers. What they told you, which you never checked properly. So you may pride yourself in vegetables. I eat clean vegetables. Question. Where did you get them from? You mean those vegetables from overseas? You just heard about the chickens. Chickens, turkeys, spent chicken. That's the right word. It's called spent chicken. That's what you've been eating. Frozen poison. So we warned you, better be careful. What am I would say to you, listen to what we're telling you and helping you with much information. And protect these kids. Stop giving them these fake cereals. Stop giving them fake cereals. Cornflakes. Rice Krispies. They're all fake. And they're dangerous, as you have heard. So take this seriously. And schools also, those of you who are managers of schools, because the parents may not even give those things to them, but they come to school, and the school managers, you don't know what they're giving them in school. Please find out what they're giving your kids in school. When they say it's break time and they're giving them food in school. Because these school managers don't care about these things. They say the child asked for it. The child asked for it? So who's the child here? You or? Anyway, got to round up now.